Welcome to the House of Maths, and today we're going to start looking at statistics. So this session is going to be on mean, median and mode. Okay, so mean, median, mode are all measures of central tendency. Okay, you could call them averages. They're all averages of a sort. So they're looking at what's happening around the centre of the data. Now I've put on the board some data. Okay, just a list of numbers. So in order to find anything about these, normally you would array the data. By that I mean put it in order from the lowest to the highest. And then you can pick out some information, particularly the medians one you really need to do that for, but it can help you spot the mode as well. So the first thing you want to do, as I say, put it in order. So the smallest is 2. The next is 4. The next is 6. And we've got 7. Got another 7. Then we've got a 12. And then we've got an 18. Now notice when I did this, when I put these in order, what I did was I crossed out the data at the top as I used it. Now it's a good idea to do that in any aspect of statistics, be it doing a graph or anything like that, so that you know you've used all of the data. You could also go ahead and count them as well. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 there, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I've not missed anything out. It's important that you check that you've not missed anything out. So let's have a look at what we've got up here. I'm going to start with the mode. Okay. Now, what does this mean? What are we talking about when we talk about the mode? Well, it is the most frequent. So it's the item that comes up the most number of times. And as you look across here, you can see that we've got 7 occurring twice. So in this case, 7 is the mode. Now, it could be the case that there isn't a mode. If we'd only had 1 7 in there, there would not be a mode. It's possible that the data could be bimodal. There could be 2 modes. If we'd have had 2 4s, 4 and 7 would have been the modes. Okay, so the mode is the most frequent, the one that appears the most. The next one, the median, and this is the middle. It's the one that occurs in the middle. So as we've got our data here, possibly the easiest way to do it is to count in from each end. So there, and there, and there, and we're left with a 7. So the middle is 7. Okay. That one there. Now, I've got an odd number of items here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So the middle one is always going to be one of the items on there if you've got an odd number. If you had an even number, say for example, I'm just going to cross that 18 out for a second. Then if I did that, I'd have an even number. I'd have 6. So the middle is between 6 and 7. So you would say 6.5 at that point. Okay. But in this case, we've got an odd number. The middle item is 7. So the mode is 7. The median is 7. Let's look at the mean. Now the mean is basically arrived at by adding all of the items up and dividing by the number of items. Okay, and we can show that mathematically. So x with a bar on top is the mean, and it equals sigma x over n. Now, this symbol here, sigma, It's the Greek letter S. It just means the sum or add up. Okay, all the x's. The x is the data, so here x equals, this is the data, x. So it's basically saying add up all the x's, so add up these numbers and divide by n, the number of numbers that are there. So if we add all these up, we're going to get 56. So that is sigma x. And there are 7 numbers, so we are going to divide by 7. So 56 divided by 7 is 8. So our mean, or I should probably technically call it a simple mean, is 8. So this is the easiest type of mean that you would be asked to calculate, where you've just got a row of numbers, you add them up and divide by the numbers that are there. It's called a simple mean, and in this case it's 8. And notice that the values, these are all averages, the mode, the median and the mean, and they're very close to each other, aren't these two are obviously the same, and 8 is pretty close to it. So our sort of central tendency appears to be sort of 7 to 8. And looking at the range of data, you know, 7's in the middle there, so that looks about right. So our central tendency is sort of 7, 8. Okay, so that's mean, median and mode. I am going to mention one other calculation that we can do with this data, because it tends to come up a lot with this, and that is the range. Now the range isn't a measurement of central tendency, it's a measurement of spread. So it's how spread out the data is. Sometimes that dispersal is another word that is used. How dispersed is the data? Okay, so the spread of it, or how dispersed it is. So the range is calculated, it's basically the biggest minus the smallest. So in this case, the largest item, which is 18, and the smallest item, which is 2. So our range would be 16. So that tells us the data is spread over 16. Okay, so there you go, mean, median, mode, and also the range. If you like that, remember to hit the like button and think about subscribing. More coming later.